Nigerian embrace the true sense of it to have a smart city with the smartification of urban centers, then the future of the smart city may not be realized. Next slide. The management of intelligent or smart city. We have different ways of managing smart city or intelligent neighborhood. One is data technology. I've said earlier that smart city is fully automated. And that is why in a smart city, every inhabitant of smart city have the data well stored in an information communication technology. When you come in, you are being captured. Your dossier of who you are, what you do for a living, where you live, where you are coming from, is being captured. And in smart city, there is no incidence of Boko Haram, no incidence of unknown gunmen, because you have all the data captured. Your movement is being guided. Your movement is being monitored. Whatever you are doing on Facebook, on social media, is being monitored. That is what we have in an intelligent neighborhood. That is what we have in a smart city. And that is what operates in Weifan in China. These informations serve as guide to decision makers as to where and where infrastructure needs to be provided, as to what is the need of the populace in a particular area. Flowing from what Prof has said, Professor Tegbulu, that needs need to be assessed. In smart city, needs of the society are well assessed ahead of time. And that is why they are not caught unaware in smart city. Safety management of elderly people in the community are well maintained in smart city. Because of the old age, because they are not in their productive stage again, they need to be well taken care of in smart city. And that was what we are aiming at in Nigeria, to have city of the future. And that is the belief of the organizer of this conference, that rising from this conference, we are going to have an intervention in support of Professor Kemiki to the policymakers, that this is how smart city of the future or cities of the future should be. Next slide. Another means of managing smart city, having talked about the design or talked about the development, we have talked about one aspect of managing the smart city or intelligent community. The next one is video surveillance equipment. Next slide, video surveillance equipment. In every smart city, or in particular, the case study, the Weifan city, video surveillance equipment is in use. And the equipment collects data, video, image, audio data of movement of people, the community in real time. Facial image are collected, just as I've said. Your movements are being automated, are being recorded, and it can be retrieved from time to time. And that is why the rate of criminality in a smart city is -0. I challenge you to make research on Weifan city in China, because all the movement, your activities are being guided. You don't need to go out for some activities. Another means of managing intelligent community or a smart city is modern technology equipment, such as drones, robots. In a smart city or intelligent community, you have drones, you have robots. Government fly drones to monitor areas, to monitor districts. And they also introduce robots to guide suspicious movement. And that is why in Nigeria, I've said, an intelligent community or a smart city is not a gift, it's a choice that me and you should key into and demand for. And not only demanding it, all hands must be on deck. A smart city or city of the future. Another means of managing a smart city or intelligent community is personnel collecting data. Information are being collected manually, apart from the ICT. And the data are also used to complete the drones, the robot as provided. We also have sensing detection equipment, like temperature sensors. We have infrared sensors. Why not for the incidents of armed banditry? We didn't have infrared sensors in Nigeria. Everybody move anyhow. Anything goes in Nigeria. Anything goes in our cities. But this is not the case in an intelligent community. This is not the case in a smart city that we yearn for. There must be infrared sensor. There must be water immersion sensor installed in every community to collect data in every environment. And the data collected will be used for powerful predictions and prevention of safety of the populace. Next slide. I move to, community safety management. Community safety management is another means of managing a smart city or intelligent neighborhood, where you have communities, apart from government, management, equipment. In some estate, you have estate associations trying as much as possible. So also in a smart city, they complement the effort of government through community daily safety management equipment. They also complement by monitoring data and central acquisition of data, which will be analyzed for decision maker, which can be analyzed for policy makers to be able to provide for the comfort of the residents. Another means is community risk analysis. The data platform carry out the risk analysis that is needed in a smart city. The data carries existing in that community. This is the community effort now in a smart city or an intelligence neighborhood, trying to complement the effort of government. Then the other means under community safety management is community data monitoring, whereby data are collected for sensing detection equipment and video monitoring equipment in the community. Because of my time, we also have community emergency management. When an emergency occurs in a community, the manager uses the data or platform for emergency management to take emergency measures in case of accidents and so on and so forth. Thank you. You see that right from creation, God is a God of orderliness, even at creation. Just as I've said at the opening remark, that man is destined to live in the garden city of Eden. But because of our disobedience, not able to adhere to the instruction of God, man was born an organized settlement. And that is why you see most of the distortions in land uses as of today. Because of my time, in our journey towards working for perfection, and in our journey towards perfecting a smart city, all hands must be on deck, especially professionals in built environment. prominent of which we are one, and the major driver, estate surveyor and valuer. Because of my time, I want to leave you with a poster. There was a vehicle, a driver, and some passengers. And the journey for a long distance needed to be serviced. And they stopped at an auto mechanic workshop. Engine oil was flushed by the mechanic. Filters were changed. Oil filter, fuel filters were changed. Brake linings were fixed. Shock absorbers were replaced. And lo and behold, after doing all, they discovered that lighting needed tires. And they continued their journey. And what did they notice? They noticed new functionality of the vehicle. They discovered what it used to be when they started the journey. Today, in Port Harcourt that we are today, I liken the driver of that car to His Excellency Chief Nyesom Wike. I liken all the artisans to all the professionals involved in beautifying River State. We have the estate surveyors replacing the mechanics. We have the engineers replacing other members of professional and built environment. And of course, you agree with me that Nyesom Wike around the road, unlike before. You also agree with me that brakes, road meridians are being beautified. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all.
The paradigm has shifted. This city could be a model.
Please, can we be generous with our clap offering?
This.
You know, it's not easy to present papers. If you think it's easy, you can come up stage and present one today. So one more time, let's give it up for ESV Alao. Papers that have been presented here, we have them in flash drives, and e-copies will be sent to your emails, and the flash drives will also be passed on to you during this conference. All right, quickly, I'd like to also use this opportunity to recognize some few other dignitaries that have just come in while the paper was being presented. May I recognize Estate Surveyor and Valuer Ayiba Tonye Imolade Ade. She is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Bayelsa State. Please, if you're in the hall, can you stand up? Thank you. That's her behind us. All right, ladies are taking vantage position in our profession. May I also recognize in the same vein, Estate Surveyor is the Director of Lands, Bayelsa State. He's also behind. Please, wherever you are. All right, that's him there. May I also recognize Estate Surveyor and Valuer Omo Isoken. She's the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Edo State. I think she's here. All right, thank you very much. I've been told that Professor Tegbulu has his book to present to us very briefly. And we take question and answers that we have right about now. So, Prof, please, you have just a few minutes to make your paper presentation. We'll take the few Q&A. This is about after 1 now. So after the presentation, Q&A, you come up stage and do the Q&A, and then we go for tea break. Thank you, Prof.
Noble colleagues, Mr. President, I stand on existing protocol. I wouldn't take your time. I want to spend a few minutes to introduce to you my new book. It is a professional book titled Property Development and Investment Decision Analysis. It is a book born out of my experience in practice based on challenges encountered by professionals in packaging development projects in the area of market analysis, value management, forecasting, risk analysis, diversification, report writing, and so on and so forth. There is equally a chapter that talks about how you can control the architect so that design will not be too expensive without compromising value. It is not a classroom book. It is a book for both professionals and those in academics. In the past, most books students read. After reading them, they can't apply them to real life situation. So I want to bridge a gap so that the professionals will use the book in their practice, and the students in school will be taught in a way that will relate to what happens in the industry. It is meant to bridge a gap, to bridge the gap between the town and gown in the area of development appraisal. I have been involved in new town projects, more projects, so many kind of projects, and from experience, I started to fill the gap in those areas which we are lacking information on. Most books, you have to read about 5 textbooks to get what's in this book. I put together what you can get in so many other books in one cover, and it's of international standard. The foreword was written by the chief economist of PwC, Nevin Andrew. He's a Canadian, and the book will soon be on Amazon. I've agreed with them, and we are trying to tie up the contract. In Amazon, it is sold for $60 a copy, hard copy, soft copy $40. Here, it is sold for only 15,000 naira token, almost close to the cost of production. It's of a book of international standard. It's not a local textbook. So I advise you to take advantage of having a copy while it lasts. Thank you so much.
Is the city of the future. Singapore. The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating. This city
Please, can
could
we
be a
give
model
Professor
of what's to
Otegbule a
come.
resounding round of applause? Always adding to the wealth of knowledge of our great institution. Well, he just said each copy of his book goes for 15,000 naira, 15,000 naira. Like a wise man once said, you can never pay for the value and worth of a book. Please, let's patronize him and make sure we leave this conference with one of his materials. Please, we have the Managing Director, Bayelsa Property Investment Company leaders, Esther Surveyor and Valuer, Godwin Konyefa. Please, a round of applause for him, a fellow of the institution. The way Bayelsa people have flooded this place, we know that they are really in solidarity with their sister states. All right, Mr. President and our delegates, our tea break will be done in this order. So please, I'm going to repeat this much later.
This
Those of
is
us
the
sitting
city
on my right-hand
of the
side,
future.
there is a tea
Singapore.
break spot behind you. From the front, fellows first
The
in this
paradigm
order.
has shifted.
Please, when you are not
The
told
world
to leave your
is
seats,
accelerating.
please just sit down.
This
We are
city
noble people.
Could be a model
Same thing
of
applies
what's
to
to
where our
come.
president is sitting. And as you take your seat,
This is
you
the
don't
city.
have to come back this way. You go back on that other side and come back to your seat so that we have a free flow. We are discussing smart cities now so that we can have smart tea break so that we don't have traffic jam. Please, a round of applause for yourselves.
The future.
We are going to come back to
Singapore.
that. We have questions here. The first question.
The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating.
And please, if you're writing your
This
questions,
city
please write as bold
could be a
as you
model
can.
of
So
what's
that
to come.
some people who have the way of
This
writing in
is the city
we don't have it
of the
here,
future.
so you just write as bold
Singapore.
as you can. So you can be able to see your writing. Thank you. The first question here is from Alhaji Muri Adi, sending his question to Professor Otegbulu, the first speaker. He says, you have intellectually given the main indices of development as they are seen. Please tell us their relative way in the development of total society
The paradigm
called
has shifted.
cities. Please, Alhaji Muri, want to give you the microphone so that you can, your question is not clear enough for, please. Can you on that mic? Let me help you. Press it until it shows green.
The world is accelerating. This city could be a model of what's to come. This is the city of the future, Singapore. The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating. This city could be a model of what's to come. This is the city of the future, Singapore. The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating. This city.
Can you hear me now? I said you have indicated 3 main indices of development based on your studies. Also, there are studies that have provided weighting or everything that affects man's life, particularly in US studies. From your own experience, can you tell us the relative weights of each of these indices so that the policymakers can know the order of implementation? Am I clear now?
So there's another question for you. So you just compile all your questions. Thank you. There's another question here for the professor. This is coming from SS Surveyor and Valuer Iswa Akpaso, a fellow of the institution. He says, your concept of economic valuation is quite interesting. The determination of tariffs for goods and services that do not readily have a market price, but true values derived therefrom. He said, my question is, shouldn't you have come up with a formula or guide so that a general uniformity of rates could be achieved? If the tariff for electricity is uniform, why can't we evolve such uniformity in refuse disposal, etc.? There's another question coming for you, sir. The next question, 2 questions already for Professor Otegbulu. The next question is directed to SS Surveyor and Valuer Alao. It says,
could be a model of what's to come. This is the city of the future.
He says,
Singapore.
going by the increases adaptability to smart life, wherein most commercial
The paradigm
players
has shifted.
are now
The world.
resorting to smart work life, like virtual workspace. What are measures being proposed by the SS surveyors and valuers to mitigate the rising vacancy ratios on commercial buildings, especially office spaces? That is to our third speaker. Is the position of taxes paid by the citizen. Then, SS Surveyor and Valuer Alao, smart city. What is the development stage of ICT given poor networks currently experienced in Nigeria? EJ Matthew, question.
This is the city of the future.
Please,
Singapore.
if your name is EJ Matthew, please can you direct your question to
The
who is supposed to
paradigm
answer
has
your question,
shifted.
please.
The world is accelerating. This city could be a model of
To the
what's
last
to
speaker.
come. This is
Yes,
the city
Alao, this
of the
question is for you.
future.
He says, why
Singapore.
is smart cities so cyclical and never achieved? Seeing that successive
paradigm
government
has
carries
shifted.
out demolitions
world
that negate
is accelerating.
the aspirations of the
This city
citizens. So does
could
it
be a
mean
model
we do
of
not
what's
have
to come.
the impetus to meet
This
our
is the
advice
city
before
of
the
the
government?
future.
Or can we
Singapore.
refuse government stringents to use us
The
knowing
paradigm
that
has
their
shifted.
activity sometimes
The
negate
world
cities'
is accelerating.
comprehensive growth?
This city
Or that we do
could be
better?
a model
Thank
of
you,
what's
sir.
to come.
The next question
This is the
from
city
University
of
of
the
Nigeria,
future.
Enugu campus,
Singapore.
Sylvester. Please, can we write properly, please? parents.
The paradigm
These
has
eyes
shifted.
are young to start
The
going
world
to see a
is
doctor.
accelerating.
Please.
This city
Talking about the smart
could be a
city
model
with all
of what's
of
to
this
come.
infrastructure and laid down systems.
This is the
there
city
any
of the future.
existing work in
Singapore.
Nigeria? If yes, where? If no, what is the plan to achieving this type of city?
The paradigm
you didn't
has
direct your
shifted.
question to anybody,
The
please.
world is
From the
accelerating.
University of Enugu.
This city could be a model of what's to come.
Question for ESV Alao.
This
from
is the city of the future.
Okuru.
Singapore.
How do you transit from a city that is not smart to that city?
The paradigm
transmitting
has
to a
shifted.
smart
The
city?
world is accelerating. This city could be a model of what's to come. This is the city of the future. Singapore. The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating. This city could be a model.
To be considered in knowing whether an action activity is developing or whether an area is developing or not developing. And just those things I mentioned was what is happening to unemployment, what is happening to poverty, and what is happening to inequality. I'm not a paper on economic development analysis. I make reference to those indices to tell you that there's a link or a correlation between the way is provided and the economic development as against economic growth. That if you are providing infrastructure and spending money without its reducing poverty, reducing unemployment by giving those who are self-employed opportunities or those who are industries. A lot of industries have closed up due to power problem. At a point, Vaughan in Lagos had to build roads for vehicles coming to their office, as case may be, and the inequality between the rich and the poor has been on the increase. That if you are providing infrastructure in that manner, without this thing being reflected in the positive direction, you are not developing economically. Doing consumption provision of infrastructure, not productive provision of infrastructure. It must be provided in such a manner that it will improve the economy of the people who are concerned, who are the beneficiaries of the services we are providing. That is the focus of my work. Don't take me away from what I'm trying to present. Secondly, the concept of economic evaluation come up with a formula, our model for economic evaluation. There are already formulas or models for it. If you read my paper on quantitative evaluation approach to toll roll as a study setting, the practicalities, it is online. You see how I use information, data, to derive rates and tariff for Lagos toll roads. This paper is also not about how to derive tariff. It was showing you that infrastructure should be provided based on demand approach, or what we call bottom approach to participation of the citizens in the provision of infrastructure. So that will be involved, and what you are providing will be in sync or in tandem with what the society needs. You don't go and start building white elephants, which is not necessary in the area. So if you want that model, it's a different paper of its own. And if you want a special lecture on it, you can approach me. I'll give you a lecture on it. That is my special area. That is where I have my PhD on. Question: budgeting for infrastructure. What are and benefits? What is the position of taxpayers and citizens? Am I correct? Yeah. You want to know why should citizens contribute for infrastructure when they are already paying their tax? Is that not correct? Yes, sir. You pay tax. That is okay, but that tax is for, it's relative, it's to make you a citizen of a country. If you don't pay your tax, you are not a citizen of a country. So when World Bank is giving you a loan, to provide infrastructure. They are saying that you have to, as it's done internationally, it's a global phenomenon, not only in our country. Everybody must pay for the services he's been given. Because in the past, they provided water free of charge. And you pay 500 naira a month for water in your area. And at the end of the day, you end up buying water every day for 1,000 naira. In a month, you spend about 20 to 30,000 naira buying water. And it can remain like that. Government can keep on providing it the way they are providing. Now, an individual is investing his money in providing these services, not government. It's a PPP arrangement. We are engaging a private sector out from World Bank or from or international agency to fund this project. So is it better to continue to take water from the vendors or meroas on the road, or to take pure good water from the tap and pay something lower than what you are paying to meroas to get good water? Your tax cannot cover everything you do. You still pay toll roads and you pay tax. Don't you do that? When road is improved, if you want to go to a place faster, it's okay. Take the fast road and pay a toll to be there. They are making life easier for you than it was before. So to have a better life, you are moving from level X to XY. And because you are deriving a higher utility from level X, you are paying extra money for that benefit you are deriving. If it doesn't give you value, you will not pay it. And I've showed you countries where people rejected those proposals because they want to remain where they are, but they feel that they cannot afford to pay extra money above what they are currently paying, because they can do with what they have. But you want to do higher than what you have, to have a higher utility from what you're enjoying today. There is no free lunch. Thank you so much.
Please, can we give a